Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and this is the week number 11 key games, and this will be the last week I'm going to do just 5 key games because we are coming to the end of the year, and I want to do 1 key game for each conference, although considering looking at week 12, this is the last week for the Big Ten, which kind of sucks, but it's also good in a way because half these key games have been in the Big Ten anyways. And I want to show some love to some of the other conferences, like the Sun Belt, the WAC, the MAC, other conferences besides it being just the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, the conferences we all see every single Sunday night, well, Saturday night. So, to start things off for the Week 11 key games, we had number 21 Louisville go into Morgantown to face off against West Virginia. And to help decide the Big East Conference, the Cardinals and Mountaineers meet in Mountaineer Field, and West Virginia started off with a 6-yard run by Nash to get the party started, but Louisville scored on a 29-yard pick six by Capers, getting it and tying it up at 7 at the end of the quarter. Nash continues to put the team on its back with a 7-yard score, but Louisville scores 15, first with a 22-yard pass from Porter to Maxwell, was a good extra point, and then another pick six, this time a 31-yard return by Gant, was a successful 2-point conversion to put the Cardinals up 22-14 at the half, which that's actually a pretty good idea, going up by 8 instead of 7, so that way you can get the team to score a 2-point conversion. I just got done watching the Scoregami series on Secret Base, so, I kind of got that in mind right now. Nash throws a 24-yard pass to Dykes, and they converted 2-point conversions themselves to tie it back up, this time at 22 from West Virginia, but a 4-yard run by Nance gives Louisville the lead they would not relinquish, as the Cardinals would go on to score 3 more touchdowns and win it 50-22. Louisville has now won 9 straight games since their decimation by McNair Central back in Week 1. Mountaineers have been heartbroken by the Cardinals, and they will look for revenge next year, and that win also clinches the Big East Championship for Louisville, so congratulations to the Louisville Cardinals for being the 2007 Big East champions. Which, hey, I'm glad we at least have one champion decided, considering, well, these next 2 games are in the Big Ten, and I had to look through. Now, once I do these 2 games, I will tell you all the situation for the Big Ten. Okay, first we had the battle between Minnesota and Iowa. In the battle for the Floyd of Rosedale, and some clarity in the Big Ten, Iowa City is ready for this big game at Kinnick Stadium, and late into the first quarter, Iowa gets the lead of 3-0 with a 39-yard field goal by Powell, but Minnesota ties it up in the second with a 35-yard field goal by Robertson. The Golden Gophers score again, this time a touchdown via an 11-yard run by Fowler to go up 10-3 into the half. The Sanders to Barnes connection strikes for 9 yards to tie it up at 10, and defense comes up for both teams because this is 2007 Big Ten. They're big on defense, unlike the Big 12 of the 2010s when they were big on offense. And we went into overtime in this game. The Hawkeyes didn't score, but Minnesota scores on a 2-yard run by Taylor to seal the deal for the Golden Gophers. As the Iowa Hawkeyes look at 4 losses this year, but they have 7 wins, so they got a pretty decent chance of a bowl game. Minnesota looks at 9 wins and the possibility of a great bowl game, and also the possibly Big Ten championship, because this is 2007. They did not have divisions. They did not have a conference championship in Indianapolis, Indiana. Home of the legendary Pat McAfee show, and maybe the Indianapolis Colts and Indiana Pacers. But, Pat McAfee's show, greatest show in the internet. And next we have the game between Wisconsin and Michigan, which Michigan comes into this game ranked 17th, and Wisconsin comes into this game ranked 10th. And for a little more clarity in the Big Ten, Michigan travels to Camp Randall Stadium against Wisconsin with a strong run game, and they definitely proved it. Excuse me there. With a 4-yard run by Shelton to take an early lead, and Davis throws it to Smith from 8 yards out to lead 14-0. But the Wolverines score themselves. The Rogers to Stanford connection strikes for 17 yards, putting them only down 14-7. Like, it seems like it's a good, close game. And then, same thing happens for Wisconsin. Sheldon scores, this time from 12 yards out, and then Davis to Smith again, this time from 42 yards out to be up 28-17. Then Rogers tosses it to Young from 1 yard out to only be down 28-10. Well, 28-14, my bad. A 44-yard field goal by Johnson puts the Badgers up only 31-14 at halftime, and it still seems like a manageable game for Michigan. Down by 17 at the half, you expect, good rally, your defense plays well, your offense plays lights out, and you're back in the game, you pull off the upset. But Davis and Smith connect 2 more times, one from 32 yards out, one from 14 yards out, to go up 45-14 in the third quarter. Then Anderson comes in and gets a 28-yard touchdown before Johnson scores for Michigan, putting them down 52-21 with a 5-yard run, but Anderson scores a 4-yard run to have the final score be 59-21. The Badgers are looking for the Big Ten championship, which, looking through all that's happened, I don't think they're going to actually end up getting it because of who all they've lost to. And for Michigan, they need to bounce back against Ohio State. Sure, you're at 7-4 for the year now, but you're about to face your biggest rival. And what a better way to end the year than to not only beat your rival, but ensure they don't have a possible chance of winning the Big Ten championship, which, in this situation, Minnesota, Northwestern, Ohio State, I believe, and Wisconsin are all tied at a conference record of 5-2, heading into the final week of the season. Let me just double check this real quick. Yeah, Minnesota holds overall tiebreaker because they've beaten Wisconsin. I believe they beat Ohio State. They've beaten Northwestern. So Minnesota, I think Minnesota beat Wisconsin. I'm going to double check on that. But I know looking through, they beat Ohio State. They beat Northwestern. So they do have overall tiebreaker here, which is going to be huge because, Ohio State can't even really win because Northwestern has tiebreaker over them. And Minnesota beat Ohio State as well, so that's just the thing, Even if there was a possibility for, the only way for, Northwestern, I believe, to, actually win it is if they win and Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Minnesota all lose, but that's going to be tough for them to do considering the fact, looking through, Wisconsin and Minnesota have not faced each other. Well, they haven't faced each other yet. This week will definitely determine it. So, just so you know, that will be the key game for the Big Ten because that will basically determine the Big Ten championship. And now for key game number 4, I decided to actually watch the CPU play it compared to just letting the sim happen. Just for the fun of it. Although seeing how long the script is, I might just stick to simulating. You let me know if you prefer me having the games go on, me watching them, or just simulating them. Make it a lot easier on me. I kind of enjoyed it, but from a script perspective, it's a lot. So here we go. For this big time ACC game in Miami Stadium, the crowd is pumped for a game to see who will help clear up who's going to represent their division in the ACC championship game. After Terrence Cohen throws an interception after a minute's pressure, James Longshore gives it right back after what looks like the ball slipping out of his hand while throwing it for an interception. This has been a defensive battle that some fans have been looking forward to. Virginia does eventually strikes, with Longshore bouncing back by throwing a 34-yard pass to Mike Sykes to take an early 7-0 lead halfway through the first quarter. Another pick on Cohen has Virginia in another position to score. They choose to go for it on 4th down and fail to convert, which could be costly early into the game. But instead of it being costly for Virginia, the Canes actually make a mistake in trying to rush and capitalize on the momentum, but throw their third pick, and the Cavs take advantage with another 34-yard pass between Longshore and Sykes, increasing the lead to 14-0 with under 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Miami does take some momentum away from Virginia with Longshore's second pick of the game, but couldn't get anything going on their drive, making some voters now wonder why they're 7th in the nation. They prove it by making the Cavs fumble the ball on the punt, putting themselves inside the red zone. And they do find success with Cowan striking a 7-yard pass to Kyle Williams to make this now 14-7 going into the second quarter. Both defenses have been working hard and forcing turnovers in the sunny Florida weather. After forcing a punt, Williams takes it to the house for a huge, nice 69-yard run to tie it up 14 apiece, as the Hurricanes are gaining that momentum back and wanting to have that opportunity to still go play in Charlotte for the ACC championship game against most likely Mickey. And looking through, Mickey's going to represent the, Atlantic side. So the Canes strike again with the arm of Cohen, who seems to be bouncing back from the early bad start, hitting Kellen Thomas for a huge 71-yard touchdown to put them up 21-14, as it feels like momentum has completely switched to the U. Longshore gets forced into throwing his third pick of the game. Chris Joseph nails a 33-yard field goal to push the lead now to 24-14, scoring now 24 straight points, returning the punch in the mouth they received in the first quarter with one of their own in the past few possessions. Miami's momentum gets momentarily stopped with Cowan throwing another interception, but Virginia fails on another 4th down conversion, which is starting to really kill any chance of the Cavs going to the ACC championship game. I understand getting aggressive and wanting to play in the game, but you gotta make smart decisions. Go for the points when you can. Virginia does force a fumble, but a very costly roughing the passer penalty ends up to Miami punting from the Cavs' 32-yard line, which is a weird decision, but about 10 with under a minute and a half, better than giving Virginia any free momentum, and will take this and lead into the halftime. Another fumble by Virginia has Miami just ready to steamroll the second half, as Joseph hits a 46-yard field goal to grow the lead to 27-14, as the Cavs defense steps up enough to prevent a touchdown. After some back and forth after the field goal, Virginia finally gets back on the board with Longshore throwing a 60-yard strike to Josh Harris to make the deficit 27-21. Longshore leads another touchdown drive. This time the touchdown pass goes to Sykes again, this time from 39 yards out to get the lead back 28-27. But Miami gets the lead right back, with Williams taking off for a 73-yard touchdown run. But in going for 2, Virginia picks off the pass and returns it for a rare pick 2, making this a 33-30 game, which is weird seeing that this rule was in college football back in 2007, even though it just became a thing in the NFL like 10 years ago. After punting and forcing Miami inside their own 5, even having them at their own 1, Virginia forces a fumble on Williams, with Carlton Green recovering for a touchdown, and gives Virginia a 37-33 lead with under 4 minutes in the third quarter. Another fumble, this time being coughed up by Cowan, sets up Virginia well, and Longshore gets another touchdown, this time on the ground from 2 yards out to make it a 44-33 game. That failed 2-point conversion is really haunting the Canes, as they looked like they could have had it in the bag. Fans are beginning to worry at the beginning of the fourth quarter, questioning if they choked away a 13-point lead and didn't make the necessary adjustments to win. After some karma from earlier with Miami coughing up a punt return touchdown, the Cavs turned it over on another interception, which could have this come down to the wire, as Miami instead fumbles into the end zone and Virginia covers it for another touchdown to make it a 51-33 game. Another pick looks like the end for the Canes, but Cohen strikes Philip Randolph for a 55-yard touchdown. A 2-point conversion on a fake PAT makes this now a 51-41 game, but there's still a ways to go. Longshore throws its fifth pick of the game. Williams runs it in for his third touchdown of the game, this time from 15 yards out. Cuts it down to 51-48. After a 3-and-out by Virginia, they hold Miami to a field goal to tie it up 51 apiece with under 2 minutes left in the game. And with Joseph nailing a 56-yard field goal, Longshore runs it. Joseph nailing the 36-yard field goal. Longshore runs it from 27 yards out and takes the lead 58-51 with 45 seconds left. A 61-yard pass from Cohen to Alex Collins makes it 58-57. And Miami knows how big the conference championship game is. I mean, it's the U. They have been wanting to be back in championship contention. Fans would probably want heads rolling if they don't make it to the championship game against Mickey. They want to be the best of the best in the ACC. And they decide to go for 2 again. And this time they make it with 14 seconds left and a 59-58 lead. A failed last drive for the Cavs leads to the end of this exciting game. Miami now steps one game closer to the ACC championship. The last obstacle on that front is Virginia Tech, and the winner of that game will represent the Coastal Division in the ACC championship. Which that's definitely going to be the big key game for the ACC next week, because looking through for the ACC for Week 12, not only is that going to be the key game, the game also has that being the game of the week. So, be prepared for the next episode, which I will get started working on when I finish recording this. And the only thing now for Virginia is to get ready for Tech as well and win the rivalry game. And even though they do have a bye week before facing Tech, so that's going to give them some time to recover from that onslaught of a game, especially that defense, which is now currently ranked 68th in the nation. So, a week off, recover, while Miami and Virginia Tech beat the snot out of each other. That's a good thing for Virginia. And the final game of the week is Fresno State versus Hawaii, which, if some of y'all can recall, Hawaii is just one of 3 undefeated teams left now. And in this whack matchup, ended up being a little, whack. Fresno State started the game with a 46-yard field goal by Cummings. Yes, that's his actual last name. This is an EA-generated roster, and if you thought the names in college football are weird nowadays, this game made back in 2007, when you auto-generate names. But after that, it became all Warriors. Right after the field goal, Hawaii scores on an 81 touchdown from Henderson to Bask, but a failed 2-point conversion early has Hawaii only up 6-3 after the first quarter. Then Henderson kept slinging the ball all over the place, with a 22-yard pass to Atkins, with a failed extra point from Duche, then a 27-yard pass to Singleton. This time Duche makes the extra point. Then Boyd gets the rare rushing touchdown for Hawaii, and I do mean rare because Hawaii barely runs the ball. They're just like, let's just throw it all over the place. From 2 yards out. And another extra point was good to make this a 26-3 game at halftime, as the crowd at Aloha Stadium was electric, seeing their Warriors being impressive during the season, being undefeated. Henderson drew his 4th touchdown pass, this time a 4-yard pass to Bridge to go up 33-3 in the third. so many threes, you think that's a basketball game. Fresno State scored a couple of touchdowns near the end with a 7-yard touchdown pass from Tidwell to Hawthorne, then a 42-yard pass from Tidwell to Markin to make it 33-17 in the fourth quarter. Then Hawaii gets a 6-yard run by Pittman to make the final score 40-17 as Hawaii goes 9-0, continuing their own undefeated season and a possibility of being in the national championship. I mean they're now ranked 4th in the nation, so they have a chance. They have a possibility. All depends on how the other 3 teams go, and with me controlling McNary Central, who's number 2, could either be TCU or Hawaii out face in the Natty. And after just basically claiming the WAC championship with this win, so congratulations Hawaii on being the 2007 WAC champions. And the Bulldogs are now 6-4, still possibly bowl eligible depending on the record. So we will see how that falls for them. And that is it for the week 11 games. Sorry that took so long, but as you can see with the Virginia and Miami game alone, that took a good while to type. And I will see you all next time.